I want to show you some new drone video we have where you can see the long line of migrants crossing the river there. Border crossings remain at near record highs, putting the pressure on the cities along the border where resources are already strained. NBC's Guad Venegas continues our coverage in Eagle Pass, Texas. Guad, there's a real scramble, I know, to help these asylum seekers as they arrive. How are these border communities handling it all?
Anna, it's been a bit chaotic, depending on what part of the border one visits. So here in Eagle Pass, I think Border Patrol has had the role of also making sure that the migrants that cross into the U.S. Are safe. You know, they've almost had to rescue them, and many times cutting the wire behind me, that razor wire, because some of them have gotten stuck under the heat. So we saw them cut the wire at least twice over the weekend. So that is, the first line of defense to help the migrants, right? And then they take them in for processing. And when you talk about border communities, so depending on what community you look into, it has a different type of effect. Here in Eagle Pass, if you walk through the city, you won't see the migrants, but the help centers where they have the resources for the migrants that are in places like Eagle Pass, in El Centro, even in San Diego, are overwhelmed. They are at capacity, and that's where local communities, local governments, and NGOs need more resources to help these migrants. And then, of course, I think we have to point out cities like New York, where a lot of the migrants are headed to, are also struggling because they have this large influx of people that are coming into the cities, that are staying in the cities, and of course need more resources. And that's why DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is asking Congress for additional funding for all of these local communities as the search continues. Yesterday, we saw groups of hundreds arrive just right here on in Eagle Pass under the International Bridge.
And Mexico and the U.S., we now know, reached a deal over the weekend for Mexico to deport migrants from its cities along the U.S. border. How is that likely to impact the current situation?
Anna, if this is implemented the way it's been announced, it would change everything. However, in the past, the U.S. has reached deals with Mexico, and Mexico doesn't follow through. Now, one of the biggest changes that would come from this deal is that Mexico would deport foreign citizens in Mexican border cities to their home countries. Now, this is a big deal because countries like Nicaragua and Venezuela, they don't have good ties with the United States, especially Venezuela. So the U.S. cannot deport Venezuelans back to Venezuela. Yet Mexico has a very good relationship with Cuba, with Venezuela, with Nicaragua. So essentially, Mexico would be able to deport citizens of those countries back to those countries. The announcement said they're even planning to do it by air. So we'll have to wait and see how that would be implemented and if Mexico follows through with those plans. Anna?